Look at this, the American lawn. Rows and rows of perfectly trimmed Kentucky bluegrass. Every house, every street, every suburb in America. You probably think this is normal, that lawns are just what you have in front of a house, like doors or windows, something that's always been there. But what if I told you that your lawn, that strip of grass you spend thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours maintaining every year, exists for one reason: to prove you're not a peasant? Here's what most people assume. Lawns exist because they're practical. Kids play on them, dogs run around, you have barbecues. Maybe they help with drainage or keep dust down. And sure, lawns can do all those things, but that's not why they exist. That's what we retrofitted them for. We invented the reasons after the fact. Because the real history of your American lawn has nothing to do with recreation. It has everything to do with power, money, and making your neighbors feel poor. Today, the American lawn care industry is worth over $40 billion a year. And this story starts about 400 years ago in the one place you'd expect, a castle. The very first lawns weren't decorative at all. They were military. In medieval Europe, the land around castles was deliberately cleared of trees and tall plants. Not because it looked nice, because you needed to see your enemies coming. If someone was marching toward your castle with an army, you didn't want them hiding behind oak trees 50 meters from your front door. So the grass stayed short. Sheep and cattle grazed it down. And over time, this open green space around your home stopped being just defensive. It became a signal that said, I own so much land that I can afford to waste some of it on nothing. By the 1600s and 1700s, European aristocrats turned this into a full-on competition. Louis XIV of France built the gardens at Versailles, which included a massive stretch of what he called the green carpet, a giant, manicured lawn designed by André Le Nôtre and maintained entirely by hand. Not by a lawnmower, those didn't exist yet, by human beings, with scythes, on their knees. Think about what that means. To keep a lawn looking pristine in the 1700s, you needed a small army of gardeners working constantly. It was absurdly expensive, and that was the entire point. In England, landscape designers like Lancelot Capability Brown were hired by the wealthiest families to create enormous rolling green lawns around their estates. Brown designed over 170 of these landscapes, many still visible today. The message was always the same. Look how much productive farmland I'm not farming. Look how many workers I can pay to do something completely useless. Your neighbors are growing wheat to survive. You're growing grass to show off. That's the lawn. When wealthy Americans visited Europe, they came back with what you could only call lawn envy. George Washington had an English-style lawn at Mount Vernon. Thomas Jefferson did the same at Monticello. The first American lawns were pure European aristocratic cosplay. But here's where the story gets really interesting. For most of American history, regular people didn't have lawns. They had gardens, vegetable patches, functional land, because they had to eat. Two things changed that. First, in 1830, a man named Edwin Budding invented the lawnmower. Suddenly, you didn't need a team of servants with scythes. One person could maintain a lawn. The cost dropped. The status symbol became accessible. Second, and this is the big one, Levittown. In 1947, a developer named William Levitt built the first mass-produced suburban neighborhood on Long Island. Over 17,000 identical houses. Affordable, designed for returning World War II veterans and their families using GI Bill benefits and FHA loans. The American dream, packaged and sold. But here's the catch. Every single house came with a lawn, and you were contractually required to keep it mowed. Levitt himself would drive around on Saturdays inspecting. If your grass was too long, he'd send his own crew to cut it and mail you the bill. This wasn't about aesthetics. This was about conformity, about proving you belonged, about making sure your house and your neighborhood looked like it had value. The lawn was no longer a signal of aristocratic wealth. It was a signal of middle-class respectability. And just like that, what started as a medieval military tactic became a European rich person flex, then became a mandatory feature of the American dream. Today, Americans use roughly 90 million pounds of fertilizer and 78 million pounds of pesticides annually just to keep grass alive. Modern homeowners associations enforce lawn standards with the same vigilance Levitt once did. Lawns consume more water than any agricultural crop in the United States. More than wheat, more than corn. A third of all public water in the country goes to landscaping. In Western states, that number hits 70%. And here's the kicker. Most of the grass species used in American lawns, including that Kentucky bluegrass covering 70% of lawns, aren't even native to North America. They were imported from Europe. The American climate doesn't naturally support this turf grass. We're spending billions of dollars and trillions of gallons of water to force a European status symbol to grow in a place it was never supposed to exist. All because some French king 400 years ago wanted his neighbors to know he was richer than them. So next Saturday morning, when you drag yourself out of bed to push a mower across your front yard for the 200th time, just know that you're performing a ritual that's 400 years old. A ritual that started because medieval lords needed clear sight lines to spot invaders. That continued because French and English aristocrats wanted to flex on each other. That crossed the Atlantic because America's founding fathers had European envy. And that became mandatory because a suburban developer in the 1940s decided your grass was his business. Your American lawn isn't nature. It's not tradition. It's not even really yours. It's a 400-year-old status symbol that we all just agreed to stop questioning. Until now. If you watched until the end, please like and subscribe. It will help me a lot. And for the next time video, the real reason you eat breakfast cereal every morning. And I'll warn you now, it has absolutely nothing to do with nutrition. Thank you so much for watching.